G'day guys, Disney Dave coming at you once again from Down Under. Well, we are rapidly approaching the most wonderful time of year, and if you're anything like me, you'll be getting ready to sit back all December long and enjoy a marathon of all your favourite Christmas movies. Every year, I look forward to gathering with family and friends to enjoy my annual 25-day long Christmas movie marathon. Now, I probably have enough Christmas movies in my collection to watch maybe 2 or 3 Christmas movies every single day in December, leading up to and including Christmas. I just love Christmas movies and everything about them. The feeling of joy and hope and happiness. Oh, you know, the warm feeling inside that you get when you watch them. The sense of immense nostalgia and, of course, the magic. Now, there's only one thing that's more magic than a Christmas movie, and that's a Disney Christmas movie. Now, there have been a lot of Disney Christmas movies, specials and shorts over the years. Some more memorable and well-known than others, and some somewhat forgettable. The Snow Buddies movies and some of those dreadful straight-to-TV Disney Channel movies.
Oh no!
However, some are staples of my marathons every single year and are absolute essential viewing for the holiday season. So, as my Christmas present to you, I thought I'd put together a list of my absolute favourites and present it to you as Disney Dave's definitive viewing guide to the most magical Disney Christmas movies of all time. Whew. So that you too can experience the magic with your family and friends. Now, there's actually quite a lot that I want to talk about here. I've filtered all of this out of my Disney movie collection behind me. This is all readily available on Blu-ray, DVD, and digital, so you shouldn't have any trouble finding these this Christmas season. So, in no particular order, let's get straight into it. When I hold my Christmas movie marathons, I usually start most screenings with a Christmas-themed cartoon short. And when it comes to Disney, there's actually quite a lot of them. There is actually a handful of cartoon Christmas short compilation DVDs that you can buy. They all run for about 50 or 60 minutes. However, the one thing is they all feature pretty much the same shorts. The 2 compilation sets that I personally decided to include in my collection were Celebrate Christmas with Mickey, Donald and Friends, and Donald Duck's Christmas Favourites. Now, I did a little bit of research into all of the available compilation DVDs, and I found that these 2 combined offered the largest range of shorts with very little overlap. Between these 2, you pretty much get every single classic animated Disney short ever made. Personal favourite shorts across these sets include 1930s, 40s and 50s Mickey, Minnie, Donald and Goofy classics, such as On Ice, Alpine Climbers, Pluto's Christmas Tree, The Art of Skiing, Donald's Snow Fight, Chip and Dale, The Hockey Champ, and a small handful of beautiful Silly Symphony shorts. These discs work great if you want to run a short before any given film, or if you'd simply want to enjoy a short film marathon. They're also an especially good babysitter for the kids. If you're looking for something that is a little bit longer than a short, but a little bit shorter than a feature, look no further than Disney's 2 Mickey Mouse Anthology programs. I'm of course talking about Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas and Mickey's Twice Upon a Christmas. Both of these programs run just under 70 minutes and include multiple stories each. So really you could sit down for an hour and enjoy it as a feature, or you could split it over separate viewings. Once Upon, released in 1999 and narrated by the wonderful Kelsey Grammer, features 3 traditionally animated stories, including an adaptation of Gift of the Magi starring Mickey and Minnie, which is absolutely gorgeous and is essential Christmas viewing. Twice Upon, the 2004 sequel, features 5 computer animated stories and is certainly the lesser of the 2 films. There's no real standout sequence here, and the computer animation makes this feel like an episode of Mickey Mouse Clubhouse for very young children. That seems to be the demographic of this production. Perhaps not essential viewing for adults, but kids will love it. While we're still talking about Mickey Mouse, make sure not to miss out on Mickey's Christmas Carol, a Disney animated adaptation of Charles Dickens' quintessential Christmas tale and one of my all-time favourite stories. Mickey's Christmas Carol, released in 1983, only runs around 25 minutes, so could be considered an extended short. It features just about every classic Disney character you could imagine, all of which are matched to their respective characters perfectly. This is a wonderful short, and is actually a very true adaptation of Dickens' book. As an incentive, newer releases of the short on Blu-ray and DVD are also packaged with a small handful of classic shorts. These look especially beautiful in HD on the Blu-ray set, and are my preferred viewing option for these particular shorts. Of course, Mickey's Christmas Carol isn't the only version of Dickens' novel that Disney have produced over the years. In fact, two of my all-time favourite movie versions of the tale are 2009's A Christmas Carol starring Jim Carrey and 1992's The Muppet Christmas Carol. I love A Christmas Carol so much that I end up watching all three Disney versions plus various others every year. The 2009 version of A Christmas Carol is commonly considered to be the most accurate to the source material out of any version ever produced. Mostly because advancements in CGI finally allowed certain scenes to be fully realised on screen for the first time ever. The animation in this film is absolutely stunning, and Jim Carrey, who plays multiple characters thanks to the use of then groundbreaking motion capture technologies, delivers one of his career best performances, one which truly shows off the breadth of his character acting abilities. With a stellar supporting cast including Gary Oldman, Colin Firth, Robin Wright and Bob Hoskins, this is no doubt one of the most charming and uplifting movies on my yearly schedule. The movie is available in both 2D and 3D editions, and in my personal opinion, the 3D edition makes this movie even more beautiful and engaging.
Ah! Humbug.
Much like the Mickey short, The Muppet Christmas Carol replaces every character in the story with Muppets.
Unemployed!
That is, except for Ebenezer Scrooge, who is superbly portrayed by Michael Caine in a career best performance. The movie may be your typical Muppet comedy satire filled with silly jokes, pratfalls and musical sequences, but the real charm in the film comes from Caine's heartfelt performance. You get the feeling, watching this, that Caine took this role, one of literature's greatest characters, incredibly serious, even if he was acting against a bunch of puppets. Caine's believability in and respect for the role is what really makes this a special film, and a surprisingly spectacular adaptation of the novel. Many consider this next one to be their absolute favourite holiday movie, and it's mostly because it's acceptable to watch as early as Halloween in October. Of course, I'm talking about Tim Burton's 1993 stop-motion animation, The Nightmare Before Christmas. Okay, you may find it a little sacrilegious for me to say, but Nightmare has never really been a big hit for me. That being said, this is understandably an incredibly popular movie, which has inspired a Disneyland ride and tons of merchandise. So it deserves a rightful place on this guide. In fact, Nightmare was originally released under Disney's Touchstone label, being deemed too dark to be released under the Disney banner. The immense popularity of the movie, however, led to the Disney branding being added to more recent releases of this movie. I've never really been a huge stop-motion fan, but the animation and production design of Nightmare is certainly commendable. It's one beautiful movie and another that looks wonderful in 3D. Another title which has been hit or miss for me over the years but is insanely popular with some other Disney fans is the 1997 straight-to-video sequel, well, midquel considering it takes place in the middle of the original film. It is, of course, Beauty and the Beast, The Enchanted Christmas. Admittedly, one of the better straight-to-DVD sequels Disney produced, Enchanted Christmas is a 70-minute tale which takes place during the middle act of 1991's Beauty and the Beast. You know, the sequence set in winter when Belle and Beast's relationship is starting to blossom, a sequence which seems ripe for a spin-off, right? In the movie, Belle and the inhabitants of the castle attempt to teach the Beast, who's banned Christmas, the true meaning of the holiday and convince him to allow them to celebrate. It's a charming little story and certainly one perfect for fans of the original movie, but don't go into this one expecting the same level of storytelling or animation. This, as I mentioned, was a straight-to-video production, and the low production costs of the movie are incredibly evident to more mature eyes. The animation is very crude, and the story isn't as well fleshed out as the original movie. Kids, on the other hand, won't know the difference. However, the original voice cast all returned to reprise their respective roles, with acting legend Tim Curry joining them for the ride. This is definitely a redeeming quality for the movie. Before moving on to the live-action movies, it might be worth mentioning another couple of animated specials which are readily available for purchase. Winnie the Pooh, A Very Merry Pooh Year, Prep and Landing, and of course, the Toy Story That Time Forgot. A Very Merry Pooh Year is actually a short anthology which pieces together a 1991 Pooh Christmas short, Winnie the Pooh and Christmas 2, with a 2000 New Year's theme short. and some additional animated sequences which attempt to tie the two shorts into one narrative. Neither shorts are anything incredibly special, with the Christmas one being the better of the two. In fact, TV Week actually named it one of the top 10 Christmas specials of all time. The faux feature in itself isn't much either. This is another release aimed towards a much younger crowd, but also makes for great family viewing. Prep and Landing is a series of 3 short animations, 2 of which, Prep and Landing and Prep and Landing Naughty vs Nice, clock in around 22 minutes, with the third, Operation Secret Santa, being the shortest of the bunch at only 7 minutes long. All 3 specials, focusing on elves within Santa's Prep and Landing Elite unit, are available in the Prep and Landing Totally Tinsel collection. These are a set of nice specials which are incredibly enjoyable, funny and underrated. Toy Story That Time Forgot is one I've watched the last couple of years, and is one of a small handful of Toy Story shorts which were produced in the years following the release of Toy Story 3. Initially released as a Christmas TV special in 2014, the story, which features Buzz and Woody fighting against a team of ravenous dinosaurs in a Dino Gladiator playset, doesn't really have a great deal to do with Christmas at all, other than the fact that it's set on Christmas Day. It's also probably the weakest of all the Toy Story tunes, although it's certainly not bad in the greater sense of the word. It is, however, easy to pass viewing, but a good option for those who want to add a little Buzz and Woody to the festive season.
Okay, now we can move on to Disney's live-action Christmas movies, and I want to start off with one that's a little bit of a guilty pleasure, but it's a whole lot of nostalgic fun. I am, of course, talking about 1998's I'll Be Home for Christmas.
Starring 90s teen heartthrob Jonathan Taylor Thomas and a very young Jessica Biel, I'll Be Home for Christmas is an absolute must-watch every single year and has been ever since I was a kid. The premise is simple. JTT, playing an obnoxious little brat, struggles to get home for Christmas after the school jocks leave him for dead in the middle of a desert wearing a Santa suit. Now, I can't tell if this is actually an amazing and hilarious movie or if I only enjoy it and find it funny for nostalgic reasons. But regardless of which, the movie is simply just so much fun. Has a simple yet incredibly touching story with great morals for the kids and is easily one of my most absolute favourite Christmas movies of all time.
Next we move on to a series of movies starring JTT's Home Improvement co-star Tim Allen. Of course, I speak of the Santa Claus Trilogy. The first movie of which is one of the most quintessential Christmas movies of all time. And this is one that I've probably seen just about every year since I was 3 years old when it was first released in 1994.
Allen plays Scott Calvin, a man who accidentally kills Santa Claus on Christmas Eve, and by doing so, per the Santa Claus, with an E, becomes Santa himself. This has to be one of the most whimsical, most magical movies of all time. And I'm not just talking about Christmas movies, I'm talking about movies full stop. Allen was at the height of his career at this point. Home Improvement had been a top rating show for 2 years, and he was, at the time, working with Pixar, providing his voice for the first computer animated feature ever.
You are a sad, strange little man, and you have my pity. Farewell.
In Santa Claus, Allen delivers an incredibly enchanting performance, bringing his trademark comedic timing and style to the dual role of Scott Calvin and Santa Claus. Everything else about this movie is close to perfect too. The visual design, the music, the story. This is one movie you simply cannot pass up. It makes for wonderful family viewing. The Santa Claus 2, The Mrs. Claus, for the most part is actually a very worthy sequel to the original, in which Scott Calvin has to find himself a Mrs. Claus before Christmas Eve or forfeit his role as Santa. This element of the movie is wonderful, and there are some incredibly beautiful and magical scenes. Not to mention I'm a sucker for a good romance. However, one insanely stupid subplot featuring an evil robotic toy Santa trying to overthrow the North Pole really feels forced, out of place, and almost shoehorned in to expand the movie's runtime. In an instant, the subplot sadly takes the film from not bad to bad. But if you can get through the North Pole sequences, you are in for a treat with the rest of the movie. When it comes to the Santa Claus 3, however, the less said, the better.
Excuse me. Did you just accuse me of being skillful and delicious?
And finally, one last movie to round it out. If you're looking for something a little bit more classic, look no further than Walt Disney's very own 1961 production of Babes in Toyland.
I will be completely upfront and honest, I've only ever watched this movie once. To me, it didn't really feel like a Christmas movie, thematically at least, despite Christmas having a great deal to do with the plot. The movie is considered Disney's first ever live-action musical, and showcases the talents of the incredibly gifted Disney legend Annette Funicello.
of which this was her first starring role. While the songs aren't all that memorable, and the production doesn't hold a single candle to Mary Poppins, which would be released 3 years later, this is still a really nice movie, and one to certainly check out if you're interested in some of Disney's earlier live-action productions.
Well, with that, we come to a close on Disney Day's definitive viewing guide of the most magical Disney Christmas movies of all time. Once again, all of these movies, shorts and specials, are readily available across most home video formats, and you can most usually find them on your shelves at very reasonable sale prices around the Christmas season. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I do hope to see you again, so please hit the subscribe button and join me next time. Thanks again, until next time, take care, happy holidays, and I hope you have a magical Christmas.